This is Laricy Live, and I'm your host, Matt Laricy. We're giving you unfiltered access to the world of real estate, where we can cover the market trends, news, and honest answers to keep you ahead of the real estate game. Laricy Live is brought to you by Lincoln Title. Lincoln Title is the best and most efficient title company in Chicago and is the best place to close your property. This podcast is brought to you by Titan Builders. Titan Builders have been remodeling condos and homes in the Chicagoland area for over 35 years. Whether it's remodeling your kitchen or bathroom or getting your home ready for sale, Mike and Mark are your go-to guys. Laricy Live is brought to you by Guaranteed Rate and Ben Cohen. Ben Cohen is the #1 lender in Illinois and can close your loan in as fast as 8 days. All right, so today we are here talking about the holiday market, and we're all in our Christmas sweaters here, and I got Catherine Halbrook. Well, wait, now it's Catherine Healy?
It's Holbrook.
Have you legally changed your name?
No, I haven't changed my name yet.
Will you change the name?
Eventually, maybe, especially once the baby comes, probably, but not yet.
Okay. Jamie Daly is with us as well.
Jamie changed her name. Jamie
changed her name like the first day. She couldn't wait to get married. She's like, I got to change my name. So she had to take a half day and go change her name right away. And
I had to go to the Social Security office, and it takes a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to do it.
We got to make sure you talk right in that mic, Jamie, or else we're not going to hear you as much here. So we all got our Christmas sweaters on. Jamie Daly and Catherine Healy Halbrook are also both pregnant. So they're experiencing holiday season prego. My wife is also pregnant, so I feel like I'm just surrounded by pregnant women right now.
Yeah.
Which is miserable. You guys
I could see that.
You and Nicole are definitely moody. Jamie's going to get into that moody phase, but we'll see. Are you guys not happy to be pregnant during? I would be mad to be pregnant during Christmas season just because I think drinking during the holidays is probably the best thing ever. Would you agree or not?
It's different. I mean,
you're going to family parties sober.
Yeah, and I have to drive Patrick around.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's Brian's favorite thing. I'm pregnant for every holiday this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, festive Pat has been it was the summer of Pat, then it was the fall of Pat, now it's festive Pat.
Yeah, holiday season of Pat. Yeah.
You've just been hammered the whole time.
He made plans for Black Wednesday tonight.
Did he really?
Yes,
where's he going?
I don't know.
That's so funny you say that because I asked Brian today. I was like, "What are you doing for Black Wednesday?" He's like, "I'm staying home with you, baby." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." 6 o'clock rolls around.
He's meeting some his college roommate who I've never even met.
Oh, Blackout Pat's coming out tonight. So so here we go. Yeah, we got you guys experiencing it, and we want to talk a little bit about kind of the holiday market, and just while we're talking about holidays real quick, do you guys still believe in Santa?
Yeah.
As well.
We have the real Santa that comes to the Laricy office. Santa Wayne.
How long do you think you'll be until you tell Eddie that Santa's not real?
How long do you think it'll be till you tell your kid Santa's not real?
I think Roan may have figured it out already.
Oh, no.
He's 5.
Yeah, Roan is the kid is a manipulative genius. He's just it stuns me.
Where does he get that from?
Didn't I tell you the other day when I said I screamed at him, I said, I'm going to throw away all your toys, and he looked at me dead in the face. He goes, you do that? I'll throw away all your wine. Your choice. And I was like, what the hell? And I was impressed. And he just knew it. He goes, yeah, go ahead. Your choice. And I was just like, what the hell? So yeah, That kid will find out anything. So when do we think the holiday market starts here? When's holiday season?
Now.
Now? Okay. I would say that the holiday market officially starts the week before Thanksgiving. Because I think that's when people start their brain starts mentally preparing to go away for the holidays, to go see their families. People start getting their travel schedules. This week's kind of light, right? I mean, and for the record, this is going to come out later, but this is the day before Thanksgiving. So I make both of them came in the day before Thanksgiving to shoot a podcast in holiday sweaters. But I'd say right before Thanksgiving because people are traveling.
I think this year, too, a lot of people left to go out of town. I had a lot of clients leave early, Monday to leave.
What are you getting into problems with deals because people are out of town?
Well, yeah, a lot of people are out of town right now, so getting limited inspections. Even our vendors, some people are going out of town, kind of thing.
We have. I read that it's the busiest travel season in history this year.
I think they say that every year, though.
It must get busier every year. Well, you got to remember, 20 and 21, nobody traveled because people were scared. And then don't you remember when I was going to? I'll never forget this. The one time I traveled during COVID, And I landed.
Literally the beginning of COVID when you were like, I'm not going to be able to get a plane ticket
Yeah.
back.
No,
And then I
it
scared
was in the
him.
beginning. It was when I went to Napa on July 4th, and I landed.
No, you went for it was in March.
No, I canceled the trip. And on July 4th, I went to Napa, and then the minute I landed, Catherine calls me and goes, Lori
They're
Lightfoot just said
closing
you can't
down.
come back.
Yeah.
And I had to like change my flight around so I could get home. It was like, yeah, you got off on it. But my point is, like, a lot of people didn't travel for a couple of years. I think a lot of people have been nervous, so they're traveling. I think last year was probably the first year, and now people are like, screw it, like, I'm completely comfortable. Because you still see people with masks on the planes and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty, probably say, like, last time I traveled, like, a quarter of
Not
people
me.
on mine. I would say a quarter of people were on the mask, had a mask on the plane. Which
Yeah, in the
I was,
airport,
like,
you'll see more people.
I was very surprised by it. This was over the summer. It was hot. So we may not think that way, but like, listen, people got
Where'd
different
you go
comfort levels.
to?
I went to Florida. It's like the least maxed city or state in the country. So, but I do think that the holiday market starts then. And would you guys, just from what you're seeing, do you think the market's kind of leaning towards buyers or towards sellers?
Right now, I would say buyers a little. I mean, it depends on the place, I would say.
I think if you have a really hot commodity
Yeah.
place that's not like getting a lot of inventory right now, then you're gonna be a seller, like getting a multiple bid offer thing. But most things that have been sitting for a while, buyers have the upper hand.
What's a hot commodity property?
Ooh, a Lincoln Park home.
2-bedroom, 2-bathroom in Lincoln Park for $550,000.
Or like Wicker
Yeah,
Buck?
or
West Sound?
Wicker, or yeah.
Like those areas.
Yeah.
600.
Like the one we
This-
just lost the multiple offer.
Yeah,
on.
there's
There's like
9
7 offers.
Yeah, 7 offers.
Which we would have got it, but
But like people have to waive everything and then you still don't get it. So,
Yes.
but I mean, what about River North? I do think overall the market favors the buyers a little bit, and I would say that the inventory is slimmer right now. It does feel a little bit more like I compare this time of year to Nordstrom Rack, where inventory's kind of picked
Yeah.
over a little bit, and you have like a lot of inventory that's like was overpriced in the summertime, or like there's just some weird properties out there with like tough layouts,
yeah.
With deals that we have going on here, Jane, what's our biggest problem that runs into deals during the holiday season?
People being out of town and not seeing things right away or responding to emails right away.
What about underwriters?
Underwriters also being limited right now, so things aren't closing. And I literally say the week before Thanksgiving, I'm like, your underwriters are going to be out next week. I was like, you're going to have like one person to do all of your transactions. I was like, so please confirm you're good to go. And sure enough, there's always a few that are never good to go.
We're supposed to have a closing today.
Yeah,
Yeah, gonna get pushed to December.
won't do any call outs.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
happened? They just,
We had a closing that was supposed to happen today.
It's pushed 3 weeks now.
oh,
Yeah, it's
Yeah, the underwriter went to Mexico.
it's
that
bullshit.
must be nice.
I mean, the thing I don't understand is
You could
why-
switch lenders and get a new loan in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
You
well, I mean,
close
it's been 3 weeks overall.
Oh.
The thing I don't understand is like people go out of town during the holidays, and people just don't work. Like, where do people go that they're out of town that nobody has any bandwidth to work?
I mean, I don't know. I've gone to a lot of places, and I always have cell reception. So like,
Right.
I don't understand. Yeah.
I mean, we don't have like a job, and the whole industry in general, even though people hate us and think we're scumbags, but like we don't have the job where like you have the ability to shut down.
Mind
Yeah.
you, I had clients give me availabiliity for Thursday inspections this
Yeah.
week.
I have
Yeah.
2 clients that want to see places tomorrow morning. I'm like,
I mean, I got a listing appointment for tomorrow.
it's
Like,
Thanksgiving. Like,
yeah. He goes, I can only meet you on 11/28. And I was like, oh, that's Thanksgiving. And he goes,
So?
Yeah, I'm off. And I said, well, I mean, I'm like, honestly, this is a day I'll take off the year. And he goes, oh, well, there's other people that are willing to meet me. And I was like, okay. It was a $175,000 place. I'm going to see if Justin wants to take it. But
best of luck.
But
Yeah.
my point is that like people have no respect for the holidays, and unfortunately that's just our job. And we can either complain about it or like if you want to be very successful at the job, we got to work holidays. But I don't understand why people these underwriters go to town for a week and a half and they don't have anybody to cover.
The banks are also closed, and titles the Friday after the holiday, so that kind of makes it hard because all these people that are closing Monday now, the 1st of December, now have to make their wires and stuff today. So it's going to be overload, and then they're probably planning their Thanksgiving sides, what they're going to bring to Thanksgiving, getting their kids ready, what time they're going to leave to go to the parties, if they're traveling.
What kind of side are you bringing to Thanksgiving?
Green bean casserole.
What are you going to make in that?
Matt gave me a green bean casserole recipe, and my in-laws were over last weekend and saw it and basically told me not to make it. And gave me a different
Like
recipe.
gross.
Yeah,
No, my recipe's
my
unbelievable.
father-in-law
Doesn't yours have like bacon in it or something
No.
weird?
My
Oh.
father-in-law doesn't like mushrooms, so
Oh,
they use
mushrooms.
cream of celery instead of cream of mushroom.
Got it.
Just, like it's is literally like the main ingredient for green bean casserole is cream and mushroom soup. That is like the main. Like if you're gonna make green bean
never
casserole,
made
like the
it.
main
I don't
thing you
like
have to
it.
make is green bean. You have to put.
I'm gonna
cream of
mix
mushroom.
cream of mushroom and cream of celery, so down
Cream of celery is
the mushroom.
disgusting. That doesn't even make sense why you would put that in green bean casserole. That's a crunch with a crunch.
Yeah.
That's really weird. That's a crunch. Celery is
Isn't
crunchy.
isn't that like more like
It's
in the
not-
stuffing?
It's like mushy.
Yeah, but like it's just not the flavor
Have you ever,
profile.
do you know what cream of like creamed? It's
Yes.
creamed.
Yeah, it's still gonna have that flavor profile. Like the flavor profile of celery doesn't mesh well
So
with green
mad.
beans. I'm just saying, like, sorry guys if they watch this.
I will
That's just
say,
that's the wrong call.
in
That's
my
the wrong
green bean
call.
casserole when I've remembered, I've never made it for Thanksgiving. I normally make a dip or something, but I was told to bring that this year. I don't remember cheddar cheese being on top of green bean casserole, and that's what
Oh
your
my-
recipe had.
oh
in
my
it.
God.
And you also told me only use fresh green beans.
Yeah.
And everybody else that I've reached out asking about
Cans.
recipes said to use
Cans.
canned French
Oh! Have you ever smelled canned green beans? Dude, like, oh my god. I saw my in-laws one time open up a canned green bean. I almost puked. They taste like, that's what they serve. Like, God bless our military, but that's what they have to eat. That's one of the downsides. Like, oh my god. Wow. Yeah, you use fresh green beans, and you do put cheddar cheese on top of it. Shout out to Paula Dean, probably the best cook of all time. That was her recipe. That's where I got it from. Now we're off topic, but green bean casserole is great. And if anybody else out there is deciding to commit Thanksgiving suicide, go ahead and use that cream of celery and like just ruin everybody's Thanksgiving. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make green bean casserole. I'm gonna bring it here. I'm just gonna be like, this is how it
I
should
was
taste.
literally just thinking in my head that I should bring you a little side of it.
The green bean casserole I make is the first thing gone. Like people are like licking the plate up. Like people are upset that I don't make 2 of them every year.
Sometimes I
Gross.
wish I could just be like a fly on the wall at your Thanksgiving, the way you talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're like, I made this and everybody loved it. And I like actually want to know if that's true.
Yeah, agree.
Everybody goes crazy at it. Like people are obsessed with my
crazy.
dinner. It's like
They're like applauding and
yeah,
clapping
actually,
when
yeah.
the
There's
food
a
comes out.
Like, you know when the plane lands and everybody starts, you get people who start
Yes,
clapping
yeah.
sometimes. That's what happens. Like I plate everybody, and then they start eating it, and then everybody starts
I think
clapping.
when you post this podcast, like Joe and Lauren and Kim, like they need to comment if this
Yeah.
is true or
yeah,
not.
it's very good. It's
At
unbelievable.
Ruick Residential.
Yeah, you'll see.
Yes.
Okay, so
Mr. Laricy, we need to know.
I mean,
his
my dad.
opinion.
When my dad eats, like 90% of the food is still like in his mustache, and like I always get stuck next to him because like Nicole won't be over him, and he's just like when he eats, it's like everybody at the table knows he's eating. And he eats like 8 different plates. It's just like
Be nice to your dad.
Yeah.
it's like a
Your
savage.
dad's the best.
It's okay.
I bet your dad would eat canned green beans.
For sure.
My dad would eat anything that puts in front of him. The guy eats White Castles and McDonald's like every day of the week, and he's still pretty healthy, which is surprising. Okay, what about losing deals during holiday season? Do you think we lose more deals during the holidays than normal?
Actually, this holiday season, I feel like they're kind of staying together a little bit better, but not like not more than like last year. Like a deal would just be dead, but like I feel like they're kind of sticking longer.
I feel like sellers are a little bit more desperate this time
Sellers
of year.
give more
so
shit.
they give more and like concede a little bit more, whereas like in the spring, they're just like, no. Like
I do think last year sellers were cockier, and then like
Yeah.
now they're starting to come around knowing that like they can't. Even in certain, we're seeing a lot of inspection stuff get cut.
Yeah.
That last year they wouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Like remember last year we'd be like, you got to get $500. We're like, all right, just kill it.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're gonna kill it over $500?
yeah,
Like, yeah.
we'll go on in a month. And
Yeah, we'll
sell
go on
it.
a month. I'm like, okay, well, just so you know, it costs you $7,000 a month to hold that. It's like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, so you're gonna lose $6,500, and like they're not gonna beat me. So I feel like sellers' egos are kind of coming back
Yeah,
to
agree.
earth.
For now.
I think
And
they're
then-
more willing to like just do whatever they want, kind of thing. Get it off their plate.
Do you see anything with commissions changing so far? We've been about almost 5 months into it during the holidays. Have you guys seen any big
No,
changes?
I mean,
on it?
again, not yet because I think it's just a little bit with the market now. I think in the spring it's going to be more of a fight for us with buyers, obviously. But as of right now in like this holiday market, not a ton, no.
For the most part, I've seen commissions stay the same. I do
Yeah.
think that in certain areas that you're working, because I obviously work with all the agents, and some agents do go out to the suburbs on
Yeah.
our team. Suburb agents actually are cutting commissions a little bit more, I'm seeing, or like trying to negotiate that.
That is true. You have a little bit more stubborn sellers out there.
Yeah.
The suburb market is also a little bit different in the sense that like most stuff sells like first day in the market, you know. So and like down here, I mean, you know, we're talk to a lot of the suburb agents and I tell them that we've had listings that we've had for years we have a few listings right now we've had for years.
Yeah.
With no showings. And then they're like, oh, we'd sell in the day. So I think suburb agents are also a little bit cockier because they're, for the last 3.5+ years, they've been kind of on untouchable territory and haven't really understood they've lost touch with the basics of selling.
My favorite question from a suburb agent, where do I park?
Yeah.
Downtown, yeah.
That's kind of how you always know that
Yeah.
you were going to be in for trouble.
But the interesting thing I would say is until they're on the other end with some of our
Oh my
listings.
God, it's like
and then,
different,
And then
yeah.
it's like with the same agents that I put in offers on their listings, and then we have listings out there, and they expect the
But my
2.5, sometimes even more than that.
Yeah, we're seeing we actually are seeing quite a bit of threes coming.
Yeah.
And I forget to check the commission thing a lot. It's a big problem I have with the listings.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Jamie's like,
that's why Jamie's
here.
here.
Didn't you see this? I was like, fuck, I don't know. I'm on the phone. I'm driving. I'm like trying to look at this thing. So sometimes just look at price and close date. I forget to look at the broker commission
The
statement.
other terms of the contract.
I look at the basic stuff, but it's just like some of the others. The problem is that like, and I will say this is probably a fault that I have, is that like we'll get, like agents don't present offers.
Sneaky.
Like, or they'll call up and they'll be like, hey, the people who do call, they'll be like, hey, I'm offering $500,000. We want 2.5%. And everything else is pretty straightforward. I'm like, any hidden things or anything like that? Because I'm in the car and I could forward this on, and then I'll just call my client up while I'm in the car and I'll tell them I got to review it, but this is what the terms are. And then like, I'll present it and be like, hey, check out the offer. This is what I'm told it is. And then I look at the offer and it's like they got a closing cost credit, and then
Home
they
sale
got like a home sale contingency.
yeah.
And I call up the agent. I'm like, well, why didn't you tell that to me when you offered? He's like, oh, I just figured you'd see it. I'm like, but I asked you. Was there any other thing I should know about? It's like they just blatantly lie. It's just like right to your face.
Mm-hmm.
It drives me crazy. And then I yell at them. They're like, well, you're an asshole. It's like, well, why? Like you just completely lied to me. Like completely. It drives me crazy.
And I think it's annoying when agents are like, well, 2.5 is non-negotiable. Like that is just what it is. I'm like, actually, it is negotiable.
Right. That's the whole point of the lawsuit.
Yeah.
You know. But you know, I do think that the holiday market is a little bit of a reset because it resets pricing. A lot of people right now think prices are dropping. That's a big thing in the holiday market. People say, hey, prices are coming down. I'm like, well, prices aren't really coming down. They're just going back to where they should be because a lot of stuff did get overbid in April, and then somebody comes on in November asking what the last comp was in April. And an example would be is like something comes on at 500. It gets 17 offers and gets bid up to 550 and closes. And then the seller next door who's got the same simplex comes on at 550. And then there's nothing, they're not moving, and then they drop down to 5.25, and then the consumer's like, well, the price just dropped 25,000. Like, well, no, that place was worth 500. And one guy just gave him 550. Yeah. So that's not a new market trend.
I have an actual perfect example of that. Last year, around this time, Brian's friends bought a place like in February-ish and closed in like April.
Yeah.
And the place was for sale for $485 on the market in December. They temped it. And then they went back on the market at $500K or $510, and they came to terms at $500K. But I was like, "Why did you guys up the price?" And he's like, "We had so much interest. I already knew I had the upper hand."
Yeah. I mean, you kind of do take a little. I got sellers out there. It's like, do we take the place off the market? And I say, well, like, and will I get more money? I'm like, well, you'll definitely get more money in the spring compared to the fall. But the reality is like, is it worth it? Right. So we got a place. In the South Loop, it's still getting 2 to 3 showings a week. There's also 3 other units on the market, the same price or lower. And I'm like, well, I don't think that makes sense pulling it off the market, because if we come off the market and your neighbor sells because there's one buyer, and then they sell for less, we're gonna, that's a buyer's market as it is. Yeah. We could have missed the only buyer in 4 more months.
Yeah.
And then now we have to price it against that other person. So like that's where I don't think it makes sense to pull it. If I got a $4 million place on the Gold Coast and we're having a showing in 6 months, I'd say like that would make sense to pull it. So, or if somebody asked me, do I come on the market? If I got a 2-bed, 2-bath, $500,000 Lincoln Park, like I'm going on the market right now.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy to me too is because obviously I see the back end stuff of things and people ask me questions all the time. We pull things and put them on the private network, and then we get more activity on the private network.
You've sold things like people are like in like a day on the private network that have been on the market for 3-4 months prior, and people are like think it's like this new hot property, and they're the only ones that can see it because it's on the private network.
Don't understand that.
Yeah, you just got to roll with it. Be like, yep, you're
So what happens is that there is like a negative review about me online. It's on like some like work website that I have Google alerts and I saw it come up, but it says like, oh, Matt, like we don't find like off market listings for buyers, which we do prospect for every day. But what some agents do, okay, they don't look at the MLS at all. Like we look at we have a thing, we have a hot buyers and a warm buyers folders that we look almost daily, if not like twice a day, for people who are definitely like really serious about looking to see if anything new popped up or something that meets their hands. And we have a whole system in place to try to like prospect for our buyers. Now, first off, that is a little difficult because we do have some buyers who are like literally all over the place, and it's like they don't know what they want, so it's hard for me to make a recommendation if they're still in that exploratory phase. But people are kind of narrowed in. We're kind of good at like trying to like give some ideas. But what some agents do is they don't even look at the MLS. They only have like TAN or like a private setup.
Or they just look on Zenlist.
And they
their company stuff
they only look for off-market stuff, and that's it. And then we'll pull it, and then we put it in the pockets, and they're only looking at that.
Sure.
So they think it's new. So while these people think like, hey, I'm the best agent because I find you pockets, it's like, well, you're not even looking at the active markets.
Yeah.
I would say that 95% of agents don't even look at the active stuff. They only look at the pocket stuff to try to be the hero.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is that you can go on the additional tabs button.
Yeah, and see when it was
listed. You can
listed.
look at listing history, and you can see all the history for that property.
Yeah,
Even on like Zillow or Redfin, you can see when things have
But
come
most
on and
people
off.
don't. The thing is that the average consumer, the average agent, like, I mean, how many questions do we get a day? We're like,
that are already on there.
We're like,
answered.
it's like, what's the assessment? I'm like, it's right there. It's like, well, I'm driving. I'm like, well, then how'd you get my number? Right? Like, you had to scroll down to see who had the listing and see my number. Like, they don't even try to look.
Yeah.
And like the average consumer is the same way. So like, I think people just like, that's just like the be the hero type thing. But like, I do think that the pockets right now are much more active.
Sure.
Is there a ticket guy out there?
Hi.
Jamie parked at the office today. Why did you not park in the garage?
It was open. Like the spot was open, so I was like, I'm gonna take it, and then
Now you're gonna be nervous all day.
Jamie's like staring at the thing, like, yeah, welcome
Living
to the ticket world,
living
Jamie.
on the edge, Jamie.
Yeah, she's going, oh my God, there's a cop over there. They're gonna get me. It's like, dude, like we just
They're filming like Chicago Fire. They're not looking at your car.
This is how we normally operate. But I do think that the pocket game is much more active during the holidays.
And they're like strong offers too. A lot of times that you get on them, they're like full price.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I do think that we're going to see a lot more. And I think that we are having. I would say this November is probably one of the busiest Novembers we've had for
This
contracts.
is definitely the busiest I've been in a bit.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a reflection of what it's going to be like next year. You probably want to like.
Well, we had a really bad end of September and October.
Good thing I'll be sober all next year.
I don't know. She still asked for maternity leave. And I was like, what's going on with that, right? When is it? May?
May 17th.
Well,
actually, half the year I'll be sober.
Yeah. I keep saying, like, there's got to be a way to, like, if we could just make this thing happen in July, it'd be much better. Much be better for us.
15-pound baby.
Yeah.
Just keep it in there.
I'm just kidding. I know people are going to think I'm serious. We do give maternity leave here. Right?
Give the turkey cooking.
Yeah. But we give maternity leave, except for Catherine. 'Cause she's not licensed. She's not 1099. Wait,
I
no.
am 1099.
Yeah, you're 1099. You're
Yeah.
W-2. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
But I get a maternity leave too.
I know.
Of some sort.
Who said that we weren't giving it?
I know.
You just said
You
except Catherine.
Wait, when's yours? January.
January 21st.
Hers is like 2 days before Nicole's.
When's Nicole's?
January 23rd.
Oh, I didn't know. I keep mixing up the dates.
Yeah.
I should know this, but the due date's just like a moving target.
Yeah.
Like last time,
Could it be a little earlier?
I haven't had a single one of my kids.
Are they later or earlier?
Well, here's the problem that I have with my kids' birthdays is that I have the due date memorized still to this day.
So you don't remember the birthday?
And I always confuse the actual birthday itself. which is terrible. But I still think like with Remy, I always mix up the 14th or 15th because she was.
I put Remy's birthday on the calendar this year.
Yeah, but I'm saying, and it sounds terrible, but the reality is like we got a lot of shit going on. I know it's terrible, but I'm saying like I always memorize the due date so hard that it's hard for me to
for like
register
months and months and months
for like almost a year, and then like I keep thinking the due dates are their birthday, and Crew's the same way, and so is Ron. So I always mess up their birthdays in my head because I'm like, wait a second, was that the due date of that? So this year I don't even want to think about it.
Your family's birthdays are kind of like always in the same month, like in the same months. Area. Like I feel like all of your like your and Nicole's birthdays are in March and April, and then your kids' birthdays are in like January.
Well, we designed the kids' birthdays being that October, January because that's the slowest time of year. So, like, I mean, this is like not rocket science here, guys. Like January's a really busy month, so I'm mad that the new one's gonna be born in January. But my goal is to try to get it in December.
New one.
You know.
Wait, Ron's January 17th.
I know, but like my goal was like if I was like when we're gonna have another kid, let's try to have it like in the fall or early winter. Not January's a busy month.
Are Remy and Crew in December? Crew's December, right?
Crew's October.
October. Why did I think he was in December?
No, he's October 2nd, and then.
Ooh, you stuttered there.
Well, his due date was the 5th. So
That's
that's
my
why
birthday.
I keep So that's why I keep doing this, and then Remy, and then it's Ron, and then this one will be in January. But anyways, my point is that like January's a really busy month, so we gotta But anyways, what do we think about holiday shoppers coming into town? Do we think that's gonna help out the holiday market?
I think it's a lot of people browsing. Like those are the calls we get. Like I'm at Macy's, and I want to look at this place in the Trump in like an hour. But I do think maybe these buyers agreements will. Maybe cut out some of those buyers from the past years.
I think so too. I think that it'll be like, in my opinion, less wasting our time with people that aren't really serious.
We do get a lot of people that, and I'm sure somebody's out there's be like, we never get anybody not to sign our buyer's agreements. Like we get a lot of people that don't sign our buyer's agreements. Probably 20% maybe.
Mm-hmm. We don't show them properties if they don't sign a buyer's agreement.
Yeah, I always say you could say a lot of bad shit about me, but one thing I will do is I don't break the rules. That's one thing I do not do. And we will not show without it. And I always think it's funny that like first off, we get a lot of leads from Zillow and some of these websites, and they have a touring agreement, which is it's a meaningless document and it's like in my opinion it's good for like one tour. And if you're not willing to sign a touring agreement, like honestly,
and you can
like,
put the specific address on it, just like the one.
Yeah, it's just like it's good for this, and it even says you don't owe us any money. So if you're not willing to sign that, like it is, like it's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
But how mad? Some people get. Like,
they don't want to,
like
or
mad.
Yeah.
Like mad.
Or they want to sign in person.
Yeah, that's a big one. I want to sign in person. So,
but what are the chances they actually do?
Well, what they want to do is they want to get there and be like, I'm not signing this.
Yeah.
Like that's just a recipe for. I would actually like to know if anybody ever got something signed in person. How awkward that was.
Yeah, especially with like a listing agent there. It sounds awful.
Yeah, but I mean, I do think that we're going to see a very busy holiday like during shopping season. Because I do think a lot more people are going to come to Chicago than before.
Well, even the call I got yesterday, my agent's out of town, but I really want to see this place. Like, can you show me? I'm like, well, we're not out of town,
Well, that's where I think we are going to start seeing some problems is
with the agreements
coming in December and then coming in the spring break. Is that a lot of people's agents will be out of town?
Sure.
And they're signed up with other people.
Yeah.
And then they're going to want to use us. And then we'll be like, hey, well, you sign with us. So then, and I think a lot of, I haven't seen this firsthand too much, but I think there's a lot of buyers that are signing multiple agreements.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I've had a couple buyers that said that they've signed with other people, and I've asked, like, is there like an out? Is it a certain amount of time? And they honestly don't know. So.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting as you get that,
How do they not know?
Because
I
think that they want to see the properties, so they just sign something. But the person that's having them sign it don't explain exactly what they're signing.
I think people know. I think
really?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think so.
I've talked. I just think
maybe that's what they tell. Maybe I'm naive.
You see some of these online leads. You just know that some people just want to see stuff and just they'll deal with the repercussions later on.
Sure.
And like that's kind of it. But I do think if we look at the Festival of Lights that just happened, I mean the city was crazy. It was like the busiest Festival of Lights of all time. So I do think
people ripping down fences.
Were they?
Yeah.
Where?
To see the lights at the Festival of Lights.
Do
you watch the news in the morning?
I do, but like it's so skewed that like, and some of the stuff is like, it's hard to keep up with what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
I'll look at every
WGN fan.
I look at WGN, I look at Fox Chicago, I look at ABC, and I look at CBS, and then I look at CWB. So I look at all of them, and they're all like tell like totally different stories.
Yeah.
It's like completely different perspectives.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm like, what? And lately I've been just like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, do you have 2 stories from 2 different news outlets, and they tell a totally different story.
Correct. That's true.
I like it's hard to pay attention. And I hate that Citizen is now you have to pay to have it.
I mean, it's like $10 a year.
Is it? That was like $10 a month.
It's worth having.
Yeah. But anyways, I didn't see it because of that. But I do think that the perception will be. I think Chicago has a huge perception problem. I think if we have a strong holiday market, it'll make for. I think we need the luxury market to come back. You know.
I think that it'll be really, really busy downtown this year during the holiday season. One, because the Walnut Room is completely booked up. Can't get a reservation there. Tried to do the
that's
Navy
a bummer.
Pier with
Yeah.
my son. All the fun things are booked up, basically on all the days I could go.
Wait, have you made a reservation? So I'm trying to get in for Remy's birthday, and everybody has alerts for their
I
birthday.
actually don't have alerts for her birthday. Sorry.
Oh, well, everybody else does.
No, you have to go there beforehand and put your name in, and then you have to wait like 2 hours, and they give you like one of those ringer things. So
Yeah,
you
but
can
you could
go
just
like
walk
to go to walk
around,
around.
yeah.
That's actually Brian's mom and her sister are going January 17th because that was the next opening for the Walnut Room.
Really?
I mean, I can't believe it is booked up. First off, the food's not even that good.
No, it's just the
How did
experience
Piazza
of
get
it.
in?
I mean, he went like a month ago.
No,
Yeah.
he went like last week.
Yeah, I mean, Piazza's
That's
like
pre-holidays. If you go around the holidays,
He's also like a house dad. He's a trophy
December
dad.
is completely
he
booked
can sit
up.
on hold all day
Yeah.
making the reservation.
Piazza went there like 3 hours ahead of time, just sat there with his man bag.
I think the Loop will also be busier
Diapers.
because the Wrigleyville Christmas Kindle Market is not happening this year
Correct,
because
yeah.
aren't they having like an NFL game there or something?
Really?
Or hockey, maybe.
They're having a hockey
Oh, the
game
Winter
there.
Classics
The
are
Winter
this year.
Classics
Yeah.
are there this year, so that's why they're not having the Chris Kindle
so
Market
it's just
there.
the one here and then in Aurora too.
Well, I do think that we're going to see. I think the biggest problem with cities in general across the country has been they've all been crushed, and Chicago in particular is one of the worst markets in the country. And I think a big problem we have is crime, perception of crime. And I think more people who come down here, and if people feel good about the city, it's going to up our in-town and out-of-state buyers like almost don't exist. I mean, think about
Yeah.
how many people we would have that were selling in the suburbs. Don't you remember
Yeah.
our whole career? People would say, I'm selling in like Winnetka, a $2 million place, and I'm
And
going to buy
then
a place for $2 million.
moving to- yeah.
And then we'd be like, good luck selling your place in Winnetka.
Yeah.
Because it would never sell. And then like now those are selling like hotcakes and nobody's buying. Like that, they're just going right to Florida.
Yeah.
So I do think we need that market to come back.
Sure.
I think that's a big market, a big market that needs to
Yeah.
come back. What about problems with agents, other agents out of town? Do you think that'll be a big issue?
Yeah, I mean, yes, 100%. I think it's hard to get into places, and like you're the jerk because you're trying to see their place, and they have like no availability, nobody that can help them. So I think that's going to be like super tough, especially this year because I think a lot of other agents are traveling.
Yeah, a lot of people take
especially
their
in
foot
the
off the
city,
gas.
yeah.
What about on deals and stuff with agents? Are you seeing problems with inspections and stuff?
Like problems, more people just like being like, when are you scheduling the inspection? When are you scheduling the inspection? I have family coming over to my house Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, they
or I
can't
have
they can't
family
do
these
Saturday,
days.
Sunday, Monday. They have to do the
Exactly.
inspection at 10 a.m. on
Yeah.
Monday, and that's it.
Which I understand, and I'm like try to be
Yeah.
as accommodating as I can. But sometimes it's kind of tough because it's like if you have your family over the whole week and then we have a limited time frame to do these things,
Mm-hmm.
like you got to figure it out on your end. You got to make some sacrifices.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like scheduling tours with our buyers is a nightmare for the month of December because
Poor Gretchen.
yeah, I mean, Gretchen doesn't drink either. It sucks.
But it's like you
Like-
try to see something at 2 p.m. on Saturday, and they're like, I can't do that, but I could do 1 p.m. on Sunday or
it's-
4 p.m. on Thursday.
It's also honestly,
It's not even the same day.
We're really big on efficiency, and it really makes me mad because like we'll have like 3 places to see with the buyer, and then we can't see all 3, so we can only see 2, and then we have to go out to the buyer
Yeah.
again the next day at some inconvenient time just for one. And like I am complaining, but I'm just saying like it's just a complete waste of time.
Or it makes
'Cause,
us look bad, like we're not trying to get into it for the buyer.
But the place is
too.
like right next door to the other 2
Yeah.
places. So instead of like just knocking it out and being done with it, we all have to schedule an hour and a half out of our day. And there's only 24 hours in a day. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like absolutely crazy. But I do think a lot of agents are out of town. And I think a big thing that we do during holiday season as well is we try to improve for next year. What are some things that we're working on now? Catherine, you got anything?
Trying to improve for next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like with agent scheduling and efficiency of keeping people in the same areas, like rather so we can meet more people and do more stuff, rather than somebody try to go to the South Loop and then Evanston and then here. So I think that's like a big thing that we've tried to work on.
What do you think about the agents at night, the on-call agents? Like
I mean, I don't think it's
nurses
going to
on-
work. I think
nurses
I think
on
you
call.
think I think it's going to be good to try, and I think it's a good idea in theory.
on call.
But I think like once people have their own clients and stuff, there's going to be a lot of trying to switch around stuff. So I don't know.
Negative
we'll see.
Nancy.
I don't. No, I mean, because I know how it's going to be, and then it's going to be somebody calling, and then Gretchen's going to be stressed out because John Paul has his own clients, and then somebody else is going to have another day, or they already made plans. So I'd rather just nobody make plans, just keep it the way it is. So.
Well, okay. What do you think?
I don't know. I think December is a good time to reevaluate, but I've actually been really busy this December. I'm kind of at the point where like I never have something not to do.
Yeah.
I always have something in the back end that I could be working on that like could be like something to cross off my list. If I have less than 50 emails in my inbox at any given time, that's like ideal.
day.
That's a great day for me.
You know what? I left here last night at, I think it was like 7:45, and I had 3 emails in my inbox. I got it down to 3. And I got to tell you.
You take crap out of your inbox that you still should have in there, and then I have to email you again.
No.
I didn't see that. Well, why'd you take me off the email?
I got it down to 3, and I drove home, and I got to tell you, I was in like cloud 9, just thinking like I got a
100?
fresh, and then I got home and there was like 150 emails in
Yeah,
my box.
it's the worst.
And I was like, what the? I was confused as if something happened. But I do think like, we're onboarding a new agent, trying to make sure that we can have somebody in place for next year to anticipate a busier year because we think we're going to grow next year, so we're onboarding. We're trying to reevaluate scheduling to make sure that we could be more efficient for stuff.
Yeah.
Following up with leads, different ways to do that, more efficient. Everything we're trying to do right now is think about efficiency, right? Like figuring out how do we schedule, make sure feedback's done even better, right? So
Yeah.
we're trying to look at weak points, reading. I mean, we ask our clients always.
I
Clients
haven't
tell us.
done this actually this year, but I always tell our assistants, if you have free time, take an MLS class on something that you can improve on because those classes are always changing. The MLS is always changing, and you might not know how to use it properly.
Yeah.
And if you can cut like 10 minutes out of your day-to-day using the MLS, then you can cut a lot of time off your week. So
Yeah.
if there's something in particular you're trying to work on, like prospecting or stuff like that, take the MLS class. Who knows, maybe you'll learn something and that can
Yeah.
help you tremendously.
Yeah, I mean, the MLS classes, I think, understanding the power of the MLS, even though people hate on it and they like Zillow. I mean, Zillow and these other third-party sites and Redfins are good to like tire kick on some properties, but they don't have the data. Like, they understand the data. And if you could do, like, the fact that I was speaking at some event, somebody's like, well, I wish I could search by schools, on the MLS. I'm like, you could set up a search on the MLS for schools. You just go to layers and then go to the school. And, like, people are like, oh, I didn't even know you could do that. Like, it's a huge search, like,
Yeah.
Because some people only want, like, Lincoln Park Elementary. Like,
Correct.
I know how to search that.
Yeah.
And most people don't put Lincoln Park Elementary in the actual data. So the only way to do it is to draw up a map. And if anybody's ever seen a map of what Lincoln Park Elementary is,
It's like
it's like a zigzag. But
Sometimes when I really have a question, I just call the MLS line and ask them, and they tell me how to do it.
They're very friendly.
They are
though.
super
Yeah.
friendly for the most part.
she's like, oh, we got a call. Somebody actually called us up. So, what about best Christmas or holiday story in real estate? What do you got, Jim? What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you, or best thing, real estate related, during the holidays? Have you ever had anything crazy happen?
Well, like a few years ago around the holidays, we had that freeze, and somebody's house got
Pipes.
like the pipes froze. And when was that? It was like our buyer buying the house,
Oh yeah.
and then he was going to. They were like, "Oh well, since the pipes freeze, we'll paint it the color you want," and then he canceled.
Yeah. 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 That was a good one. It was not a good one, but that was a good thing. Any crazy?
Like holiday related? No. I mean, I feel like you get like a lot of like annoying cancellations because people are like hosting for the holidays and
Yeah.
stuff. So that's annoying, but no, nothing.
I'll tell you my favorite Christmas story is it was like the second year I was cooking Christmas for Nicole's family. And there's a thing that happens at her house is that like I clear everybody out of the kitchen. I open, like when I start cooking, I open up a fresh bottle of bubbles, pour myself a nice glass of champagne, and then I start like building because I prepped the night before, and then I'm building the day of. So I started building, and I put the ham in the oven on Christmas, and I got a call from a client. She was from China, and she doesn't celebrate Christmas. and it was on one of my listings that was vacant. And she said, "Listen, we're ready to make an offer." But
I remember that. Was that on Prairie?
Yeah,
1322?
it was on Michigan, 1440 Michigan. But she had a place at 1322 Prairie.
Right.
And she said, if we could get in there today, we'll make an offer today, full price, and then we'll close it. And I would dual agency it. And like this was like probably 2014 or so. And like, I mean, money was very thin at that time. You were not here.
I was gonna say I don't remember that.
Yeah, you weren't. You were. This was.
I think it was
this
like my
with
first or
best
second year.
assistants.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is with better assistants.
My best assistant.
I mean, if we have to rank assistants, Jamie's not making top 3. But she's also only been here like 4 or 5 years.
Unless Jamie's not around, and then she's number 1. So just so you know.
But so anyways, back to the story. So this lady says that she'd buy this place if she sees it. And I just put this ham in, and I'm like, okay, well the ham's gonna take like good 4 or 5 hours, right? You slow cook this thing. And I like nobody was in the kitchen. And I was still kind of like in that like want to be on like good phases. I think we're like a year or 2 in the marriage and like with her family. And I'm like, I took a look around. I'm like, I could put a suit on and get out of this house. It's 30 minutes to the South Loop, 10 minutes in the unit, 30 minutes back. Like I'll be gone like an hour and a half tops. I'm like, I think I could do this. So I did a quick route down to the South Loop, showed a tour. They bought the unit. I showed the unit. They liked it. They bought the unit on the spot. Like we literally, like this was a time where like we used hand signed contracts. I brought the contract with me. I sent it over to the client. They signed it, and that was it. And I sold it. It was like maybe a $300,000 sale, and nobody knew that I left the house at all. Nobody had any idea that I left. And I was like, this is the best Christmas ever.
Yeah. It's like you didn't tell him you left, did you?
No.
Yeah.
In fact, like when we sat down for dinner, I brought it up. I was like, do you guys know I did like leave on a showing? And that's when I started wearing my ties again on Christmas too, because I had my suit and tie and I put it on over my sweater. And so that's where I started it. But I, ever since then, this is a true story, I've now literally sold at least one property on every single Christmas. Every Christmas I've sold.
Do you still do showings every Christmas?
I don't do showings.
Yeah.
That was the only time I've ever showed.
Yeah.
Like, no joke. That was the only time I ever showed a place on Christmas. But I now have successfully sold something
No, I feel
every
like
Christmas
you've shown
and
places
Thanksgiving.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve I always do.
Oh,
always,
you do? Okay.
Always. Never Christmas Day. Never Christmas Day. I will say too, speaking of that, I would say that Christmas, if we have to rank Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Day, the 3 major holidays in America, of what's the busiest holiday, I would say it's not even close. Christmas is the busiest holiday.
Yeah.
It's
Because
like,
a lot of people don't celebrate Christmas and they have it off.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's good. I would say
Yeah.
New Year's Day is hands down the slowest.
Yeah.
But Christmas Day, I get the most calls because people from like, Southeast Asia, people that are Jewish or Muslim, they don't celebrate Christmas and they're off. And nobody else,
nothing
they're
to
not doing. We get so many requests for Christmas Day,
Yeah.
and we get so many. If I'm cooking on Christmas, I'll get like over 200 or 300 emails if I don't check for an hour. It's insane. It's out of control. I probably make more calls that day out of any holiday.
Sure.
In fact, I almost want to start working Christmas because it's so busy. So, right? I call Jamie a lot on Christmas Day. I'm like, can you get this offer out for me?
Does he say Merry Christmas?
No.
No, I'm like, I need an offer. Like, can you get this offer going?
It's always like
Is your
offer.
internet working?
Offer.
Question mark. And then it'll start sending question marks.
It's not question marks. It's just offer.
Yeah. And then I see the red. So once I know she read it, I'm like, just
I sometimes read things and then I mark it again as unread so that it looks like I didn't read it.
Yeah, but on the phone you could tell because you get notified.
So now she's saying she undoes it. So then you don't
Yeah,
know.
you and my husband and my mom are always at the top of my text messages most of the time, and I always leave you on unread, but you can pull it up and see what you actually said. So
Okay.
I leave you on unread a lot.
Okay. Well, now I know just to keep calling. Keep calling. That's like the thing I've learned is to just keep calling. There's Jamie's one of the people I keep calling until she answers. Catherine's always a 2 call. First call she ignores, second call she picks up. John Paul's
That's
like
when I
that
know
too.
it's important. I'm like, ugh, fine.
Yeah. It's
Well,
like-
half the time I'm like doing something around my house.
Yeah.
Like you
It's
only have certain days to like do your laundry and like mop your
Yeah.
floors and do your
Go to
dishes.
the grocery
go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Well, offers only come and go. Like we gotta, sometimes laundry's gotta come second.
I always tell my husband when he says, "Why are you doing this on your one day off?" And I'm like, "Well, listen, real estate never stops.
Yeah.
Like, it's just how it is.
It's
It'll never.
true.
You knew it when we started dating. You know
Yeah.
it now that we're married. It
Yeah.
will never stop."
Yeah. I mean, my kid, they don't even ask. In fact, like, now my kids just know. Like, I left today, and Crew was like, bye, Dad. And I was like, she's like, see you tonight. Like, that's it. Like, they just know. That's just, I think one time I came home early or something. They were like, what are you doing here? Like, why
They're
are you here?
confused.
Like,
Eddie's
what?
always sad when he actually sits and like looks at me out the door. It makes me feel terrible.
Oh my God. I'm like, anybody want to give me a hug about it? He's like, yeah, see you later, Dad. We'll see you tonight. Like, we'll see. They run up the stairs. They're like, yeah, see ya. Nobody cares. Last question. How do we think the end of the holiday season will lead into next year?
I think it'll go out with a bang.
I actually think going next year will be slammed.
Yeah.
Like I really feel like
do
we're
too.
going to be really, really busy. It's going to be a great January for us next year.
I mean, we have more pending going into January right now than we had last year by almost like 25%. We still got another month to put place under contract for that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this year we'll finish as our second best year, not our first best, but it's up there. So, I mean, I think that's going to lead us into a very, very strong. I think 25 is going to be the best year since 22.
Yeah.
I keep seeing also that they are predicting the Fed to potentially do like rate cuts. So
Well, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Federal Reserve from the administration.
it's been all over the news every single day.
Well, it's coming. Like we're gonna see the economy's gonna be raging. They're gonna be cutting costs. We're gonna start seeing like a lot of big things. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I think the city's gonna rise from the ashes.
Yeah.
I think all big cities across the country have been, honestly, if you look across America, big cities in the last 4 years have been really, really bad. Like they have not, there's never been a time that I knew in my lifetime, I know in like the late 70s and 80s, like cities were really dangerous and people didn't live in there and like they just weren't like, it just wasn't a thing. And then like ever since I was like a younger adult to a full adult, like cities was like where the energy was. In the last 4 years, like the energy has been completely sucked out across all cities in the country. And I feel like we're heading in a different direction now. I think we're going to see a big change.
I also think more people are going to get married in 2026 than they are in 2025. So 2025 will be a busier year, less travel. That's my prediction. Just
Why?
because I have fucking 5 weddings in 2026 so far.
already.
Why are they
2
not-
are destination, 1 I'm standing up in.
Why are they not marrying in why 26?
There's nothing available in 2025 anymore, so people
a
are
lot of
pushing to
people's
2026.
Stuff got pushed back.
I
Still.
mean, all I know is that if she's got 5 weddings in 2026, all her friends out there, she will only be approved to go to 1.
One's in Ireland, Matt.
Okay, yeah.
September
Jane went to-
2026.
Last time Jane went to Ireland, magically the internet didn't. She's like, I don't get internet here. I'm like, internet exists in Ireland. She's like, no, I'm in a
I
house.
swear to God, I did not have it. I was in like an estate that's like far out, and
Yeah.
it was like terrible.
I was like
internet.
calling up like the Irish government. I'm like, can somebody send her like a
hotspot.
like a Netgear like little like Wi-Fi system out there?
Actually, if I go to Ireland again, I'll probably bring a hotspot because I don't see how it would work again like that.
I think we're gonna look up.
I've been to Ireland like 5 times. I've never had
You
problems.
go to Dublin though, and like the bigger cities. I was in like
Galway,
small
though?
farm cities.
Yeah.
What's the thing that Elon Musk got? The space, not SpaceX. But
You said Starlink?
Starlink. Yeah. I'm gonna get because now Joe Rogan said like there's like a Starlink like the size of an iPad.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna buy one of those. Just give it to you. You get internet everywhere. And then when she gives this bullshit excuse like, yeah, I spent $1,000 on Starlink. Like you're answering some emails. Like she
offer.
Brian's in the background be like, no, there's no Wi-Fi over. Like yeah, we got Starlink, buddy. Like she's getting on that email.
The estate that we stayed in was for his brother's wedding. It was literally like an old mansion, but there was a resort like down the street. But since my husband was in the wedding, we had to stay at the estate, and it was literally like the definition of like you couldn't drink on the premises without a chef there. Like there was no internet. I took a cold shower every day.
This
Sounds awful.
You know, when Joe got married in Napa, they stayed at a hotel that I didn't think was up to standards, and so we stayed at a different hotel. You could do that, you know. And yes, that could be Nicole's sister.
Well, actually, this time we won't be standing up, so we can stay at the nice resort.
Yeah, I mean,
With
like,
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, like you don't go to
Very
town
nice
much.
golf
Like,
resort.
I'll take like. I'm not a guy that goes on vacation 50 times a year. I go on vacation 1 time a year. I'm not going to stay like, you know, where I don't get internet. I could drive the extra 5 minutes, spend a
It
couple
might
extra dollars.
make you feel better if they don't allow kids. We'll have to figure out if we're going or not. Because, well, Brian might go and I
Can't
might
do it.
stay.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's it. Brian, we're giving you a bachelor trip to Ireland. I'll pay for you to go first class, buddy. That's the ticket. I'll pay for Brian to go first class, and you could stay back. Yeah, that sounds great. All right. Christmas came early, Bri. Okay? All right. So that's all we got. Have a happy holiday season. Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Happy Thanksgiving.
holidays.
Yep. All right. God bless.